What was the experience through that process?
I would say it wasn't a single. I think one of my best solo years, about 2022, I got like $1.8 million solo for like 10 different projects. And it ranged between the Omega Lamplighters, which is a youth program. Appreciate that. It was the Omega Lamplighters, which is a youth program under Omega Psi Phi fraternity. We got our first allocation there. I had one allocation for a suicide prevention program, another one for a scholarship for low-income college students, another one for elderly for youth students to essentially teach old people to stop being scammed online so they can understand. Because during the pandemic, everybody was scamming the old folks, right? So they ended up being a different mix there. Also, some money for people that were coming out of prison so that they could transition back into life well, so at least the workforce development part was there. So to me, it was more getting out of the narrative of DeSantis and the nonsense.
Yeah, you right, son, my bad. Give him that.
Mic check. There we go. Didn't know I didn't have levels on that. My apologies. Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy, the Hip Hop Lobbyist. I was talking to myself there for a second, but it's okay. I was saying that I took a couple weeks off the stream. Not intentional. Travel through Thanksgiving. You know, Thanksgiving about 2 weeks ago, but a lot of that, a lot of client work. It's Q4. Session's about to start, so I know that there are a lot of moving parts to the process. And even though I'm not doing a lot of Tallahassee work outside of appropriations, I'm here to see what's out there. You know what I'm saying? So thank y'all for tapping in. I heard my girl Jasmine Crocket is running for Congress. I wanted to tap in and see what her speech is, see what some of the commentary is. I think she's crossed already the main threshold is name ID. Name ID is the most important thing. People know her, love her, hate her. It is what it is. People have an opinion to potentially go vote for, right? So from that, we'll see what she was talking about and catch up on some news. Let's see what my girl's saying, man. Appreciate y'all tapping in. I'm gonna add the stream deck, the stream ninja in. We'll get the chat up. But thank y'all for tapping in, man. For all who are here.
But are you fired up? Are you ready to go?
Let's go, let's go.
All right, Texas. Let's get down to it. I know y'all are ready to hear some good news, and some of y'all already heard it before you even got here. Yes, it is true. I am running to become your next United States Senator from the state of Texas.
I don't like this angle.
I honestly can't put into words what it means to me. You see, a lot of people think that making decisions like this, you take them lightly. I'm here to tell you that I understand that there's a responsibility. I'm not reading from my script, so they're about to be confused. There's a responsibility that lies with all of us, especially in this moment. There are a lot of people that said, you gotta stay in the house. We need our voice. We need you there. And I understand. But what we need is for me to have a bigger voice. What we need is not only a voice, but we need to make sure that we are going to stop all the hell that is raining down on all of our people. So over the last couple of months, I've been thinking about our future. Where do we go from here? And obviously, I've been thinking about Texas. I thought about my classmates from law school. One is standing right up front, Mr. Anthony Farmer. I thought about the big dreams we all had, fighting for justice in the courtroom, starting our own businesses, buying a home, starting families. If you think about it, our dreams were the American dream. Opportunities for those who work hard, home ownership, jobs, entrepreneurship, and security. And that time, we were headed into the Great Recession. I took a job in East Texas for a pretty well-known family-owned law firm. I began doing class action defense work. And honestly, I wondered if I'd made a mistake. I wondered if that was really what I was supposed to be doing. It just so happened that they had just started a new public defender's office in rural East Texas. And so I decided that I would join that public defender's office. I joined it because I believed everybody deserved a voice in the courtroom. Even if they couldn't afford an attorney, one would be provided to them, and that attorney was me. I loved being a courtroom warrior. I got some judges here. They probably can't identify themselves, but nevertheless, I loved being in the courtroom. You know, I never thought that I would run for office, but some people are able to inspire others as they walk their own path. As a 27-year-old public defender walking in her path, there was someone who came along and inspired me. There was this charismatic, funny, intelligent, and exciting young candidate with a funny name who just got into the U.S. Senate and was running for president. Many doubted if this country was ready, while others, well, we got to work and kept hope alive. We didn't focus on the naysayers. We didn't get distracted by any pollsters. We remained laser focused on getting the person who was best for the job into the seat. We didn't let history diminish our hope in what was possible. We ignored that the devil on our shoulder that sometimes tries to tell us your vote doesn't matter. The country's not ready. He can't win. And responded with that timeless American creed, yes, we can. Yes, I'm talking about President Barack Obama. How many no's do you think he heard before he got a yes? No, you can't win. No, the country's not ready for a black president. No, a black man can't get elected. No, your middle name is Hussein. No, you can't beat the Clinton machine. But every time they told him no, he looked them right in the eyes and he told them yes. He said, yes, we can. Yes, we can deliver on health care. Yes, we can enshrine equal rights. Yes, we can bring jobs back to America, create opportunities for all. And yes, we can save the economy after a Republican president sends it into the gutter. People ran lies, rumors, and tried to poke holes in everything about Obama, from his faith to his heritage. Falsehoods about his daddy, mistruths about his mom.
What does that have to do with you running for Senate, though? That's
there was
the thing.
even a question about his birth certificate.
I get the inspiration,
he didn't let any of that get in his way.
Where's the link?
He worked and worked and worked to inspire and instill a sense of hope. And man, do I remember. I remember hoping.
There it is.
I don't know if I really believed. But I knew that we had to try. I knew that we had the power. He turned those no, you can'ts into yes, we cans. Yes,
everybody
we deserve
trying
better.
to push that. Every Democrat ever
Yes,
since.
we will dig deep. Yes, we can. Back then, as the housing bubble burst and the economy crashed, I saw everyone around me struggling. I saw a system that ignored them and legal system that failed them. Then I remembered Obama's words. Change will not come if we wait for some other person or some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek. So many of you don't know, but I was 28 by now. And I decided that I was going to run to become the Bowie County Democratic Party chair. I was elected as the youngest black Democratic Party chair in the history of Texas. Later, I moved to Dallas, and frustrated by the broken laws on our books, I ran for the Texas House of Representatives to be that agent of change. I took on the establishment, ran against an incumbent, and there were folks in my ear, that devil on my shoulder, that said I could not win.
What happened though?
I was being outspent 5-1.
Talk to him. What
And
happened?
even those that said I had to be less of myself, I tuned that noise out.
Talk to him.
And even though I was outspent,
5-1.
I was never outworked.
Uh-oh.
When I look across this room, I see folks who knocked on doors for me back then in 2020.
Uh-oh. That's it.
I see people who believed in me before any viral moments. I see people who believed that I could and would be different. I see the people that locked arms with me. Some of those elected officials that went out on a limb and endorsed me when nobody else would. You see, I didn't get anywhere on my own. Every step of the way has been with you. The people who have fueled this fire. You've chipped in your hard-earned money. Hey, donors, because I see some of y'all too. You put in the sweat equity under the hot Texas sun, knocking on doors, putting out signs. You've driven your neighbors to the polls, dragged your coworkers to go vote. You're the ones who walk your precincts, register thousands of voters, and you're the ones who flip seats across the state at every level. When Texas turns blue, it won't be because of any one candidate, but because of each and every one of you doing your part. Turning Texas blue is what I want to talk to y'all about today. Now, there are those that say, ain't no way, we done tried it 50 kinds of ways.
Damn,
let me be clear, y'all ain't never tried it the JC way.
Go. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
We used to telling us what I can't do.
Uh-oh.
But they have no idea what Crocket's crew will do.
Uh-oh.
Clock it.
So I just want to be clear.
Oh.
All the haters in the back.
Oh, let's talk
listen
to 'em.
up real loud. We gonna get this thing done.
Uh-oh.
That's right. That's right.
So they tell us that Texas is red. They are lying. We're not. The reality is that most Texans don't get out to vote. The reality is that the people that I used to work with in the Texas House did everything that they could to make sure that they could suppress voices. If we were so red, they wouldn't be so pressed. Let me be clear.
You ain't never lied.
The reason that the governor always got time to call out my name is because he understands that I know how to speak to everybody, not just some folk. There are folks who feel like their vote doesn't matter and that nothing will change or that candidates don't speak to them. And honestly, I can't blame them. But I'm here to address those Texans specifically who feel as their vote doesn't matter. Let me tell you it does. Earlier, I talked about my first race for state representative, and I talked about the fact that I was outspent 5-1. They had the money, but I had the people.
Uh-oh.
When the first batch of votes came out, I was down by 700 votes.
Uh-oh.
I told my team it was over.
That's right.
Carmen, who's right up front, rushes down and says, "No, we about to go to elections." I said, "Y'all, it's over. We've been voting for 3 weeks and we down by 700. We ain't coming back."
Uh-oh.
Around 10 o'clock, somehow somebody said, "Rep, you only down." Well, I wasn't rep then. You only down by 50 votes. I said, "Oh, we getting good. We getting good." I said, "Now y'all tell me what's still out. Is anything out? Are we done?" Because it was getting late. And they said, "MLK is still out." I said, "Oh."
I beg your pardon.
I said, if anybody came through for me, it was gonna be MLK. And when I tell y'all, when the votes were counted, I had won by 90 votes. Out of 10,000 votes that were cast, I won by 90. It was the closest state house race in the entire state of Texas that year. Do you know where those votes came from? They came from the mom who organized the entire neighborhood to go vote because she knew I would fight like hell for her daughter.
Hey, there we go.
It came from the retired firefighter who talked to each and every one of his or her neighbors in the senior homes and the people that they lived around. It came from everywhere. It came from the churches. It came from home healthcare workers who ran across the street to vote at the library during their lunch break. It came from citizens who hadn't voted in years, but went to cast their ballots because they believed that I would bring a new generation of servant leadership to the government of the people, by the people, for the people. Each and every one of those votes made up the 90 votes we needed to bring change, and I'm gonna add this. It even came from unhoused folk. See, what y'all don't understand is that people like to devalue certain people, but the only place that equalizes us is at the ballot box. So I don't ever want anybody, no matter what your socioeconomic background is, to believe that you don't matter or you don't count, because the time that you count is when you are at the ballot box. A single grain of rice can tip the scales. Every single vote counts, and that couldn't be truer in the United States Senate. It was a single vote in the United States Senate that saved the Affordable Care Act, that saved millions of Americans' health care coverage. That vote was cast by John McCain, who showed bravery and honored his oath of service. Yeah, clap it up. He bucked his party's president to do what was right for his constituents. Sadly enough, we all know that Senator John Cornyn does not have the guts to stand up to Trump. But I can tell y'all who does. I do.
Oh, there we go.
Cornyn carries on with business as usual while small businesses across Texas take the hit from Trump's tariffs. Well, I'm done with politics as usual. I'm done with going along to get along, and it gets us nowhere. I'm done watching rural hospitals and public schools close their doors. I'm done watching parents be afraid to send their kids to school or the mall or the movies because Republicans have flooded our streets with guns. I'm done with the senators sitting around doing nothing while Trump takes your hard-earned money, skims your Social Security, slashes Medicare, and gives tax breaks to billionaires. I'm done.
Damn.
I'm done watching the American dream on life support while Trump tries to pull the plug. The gloves have been off, and now I'm jumping into the ring. I'm asking for your support to be the next United States Senator from the greatest state of Texas.
That's right.
I'm running because I don't ever lose focus of the people and what we deserve. We deserve a government that is by the people and of the people, not one that's bought and paid for, not politicians who are self-serving and line their own pockets. Most of you know that I am a civil rights and criminal defense attorney, that I made a living arguing cases before juries and fighting for Texas who were harmed to receive justice. I have won cases and convinced juries in the deepest, reddest parts of this state, and I'm ready to make the case to the people of the great state of Texas. My experience spans both state and federal. As you may have seen, I have spent more time on the federal level than I did on the state level, and frankly, I'm very well aware of what is happening on the federal level, on the deepest levels of the federal level. If elected to the Senate, actually when? I was about to say, y'all slow. I will begin on day one fighting to lower costs, deliver on health care, make home ownership and entrepreneurship accessible to all, and hold Trump accountable. I'll hit the ground running because I'm already in the belly of the beast right now. Many people wonder why I jumped in this race so late, and I just want to be clear that this was never my intention. This was never about me. I never put myself into any of the polls. Listen, my question was, which congressional seat would I be running for? And for Texas 30, I love you, Texas 30.
Would love the state of Texas
Okay,
more.
I'm gonna finish. But the more I saw the poll results, I couldn't ignore the trends, which were clear, both as it relates to the primary as well as the general election. I could have played it safe and continued serving in the United States House of Representatives for as long as my constituents would have me. But I don't choose to do that. Because Texas, this moment we're in now, is life or death. It's all or nothing. It's now or never. We find ourselves at a crossroads. We're faced with a hard choice to make people believe. We've got to make sure that they understand that we are not to go back. We are not to allow our hard-earned progress of our foremothers to be wiped away. We lose Social Security, Medicare. We lose the right to vote, to love, and live freely. That's one path where we go back in time. The other path is learning to live in Trump's America and shrinking ourselves into the shadows. It looks like people who are afraid to worship or love freely because people are simply, right now, afraid to walk down the streets. It looks like a country facing denial, bank loan denied, healthcare denied, American dream denied. But I'm here to tell you there is a third path, a path where we move forward as one people united under a common vision, a path where we reject Trump's false promises and reject his lies and division. I'm asking you to walk down this path with me, shoulder to shoulder, and envision a Texas where every child, no matter their story, can go to the best public schools, can afford to go to college or learn a skilled trade, a Texas where that child has every opportunity to grow and thrive. That means nutrition, healthcare, mental health, and safety. Imagine a Texas where that child grows up and can buy a home with first-time home buyers assistance. Imagine that child wants to start a business and create jobs in their community they live in Texas, where they can actually access some capital to get started. Now contrast that to our reality today, where a child's opportunities are limited by their zip codes. I think about the children in Houston who had their school district taken over by Abbott. I think about the children in Lufkin who went hungry this summer after Republicans cut funding for summer EBT. I think about the young adults and families in Amarillo that would love to buy their own home but can't afford it. I think about the farmer in Loving County who had to find his way to the nearest hospital miles and miles away because Texas has closed more rural hospitals than any other state. And by the way, if you know farmers, it takes quite a lot before they'll even think about going to the doctor. So I know this. This man was in pain, and his pain was ignored and neglected by 3 decades of Republican domination in Texas. And I'm going to keep taking down this path with me. But let's first address the elephant in the room, quite literally. I know many of you are wondering why I'm running for a seat that everyone says cannot be won.
Baltimore.
The last time Texas elected a Democrat to the United States Senate, I was 7 years old. Do not try to do the math. Cornyn was already 36 and serving as a district judge. For most of us, a Republican-controlled Texas is all we've known. But we cannot let that diminish our faith and belief in what can be. I stand before you because I'm not looking backwards in the past. My eyes are fully ahead and fixed on the bright horizon ahead of us. I'm running for this seat because I'm going to be hung up on the brokenness. I'm not going to be hung up on the brokenness of the past. I'm focused on fixing up our future. Many people have asked, and all of us wonder, can we win this race in November? I'm here to say, yes, we can. I'm also here to say it's not if we can, but if we will. If we will get out and knock the doors, call the people, and meet them where they are. It's a matter of if we will do the work to have the necessary conversations about the future of our nation. Will we come together as one? This isn't about me or them. It's about you and us. This is not about ambition. It's not about my ambition. It's about yours. Your hopes and your dreams, and a government that has your back, not pushes you back. No Democrat has done what we're seeking to do, and that is win a statewide election in Texas in the 21st century. So there is no roadmap. There is no blueprint, and there is no cheat code. So for everybody that thinks they got it, just watch and I'll give it to you.
Oh, damn, there it is.
This path together is one that must be forged ourselves. So let's be honest, if there was anyone with the recipe, well, they would have already won.
Ooh, talk.
But I also know this. If Mississippi can flip seats, then why can't Texas? If Georgia can elect 2 Democrats to the United States Senate, then Texas can too. In 2012, Mitt Romney won Texas by 16 points. In 2016, Trump won Texas by 9 points. As his administration went on and people felt the hurt, his margin in 2020 shrunk. In 2020, as people were fed up with his administration, as people sat around the dinner table, 500,000 American families stared at the empty chairs. The chairs once filled by loved ones who died from COVID. I remember the long lines, the lines we waited in for rapid testing, the line folks needing unemployment, the long lines at the food banks. Well, guess what, y'all? Under Trump 2.0, people are still unemployed or forced to work multiple jobs. And after all the cuts to SNAP, the rising cost of everything except wages, food banks are stepping up once again to fill the gap. But I remember another place where the lines were so long and in many places wrapped around the building, and that was at the polls. We turned our pain into purpose. We kept the faith and we did the work. We put fear in the hearts as the margins tightened and we were closing the gap. What did they do in response? Did they take a look in the mirror?
Nope.
Try to offer real solutions
Nope.
to the real issues? No.
Nope.
Instead, they decided to come up with ways to keep you from being heard, to make it harder to vote and easier to cheat. Well, I'm here to tell you, don't cheat yourselves. Don't fall for the okey-doke. I'm asking you not to worry about the naysayers, the critics, and the haters, because they already hear y'all. It's not about them or what they believe. It's about you and us, what we know is possible when people come together. So I'm asking you to tune out those intrusive voices that say she can't win because she's black, because she's a woman, or because she's a Democrat. If you believe women should be in all spaces, then I ask you to stand with me. If you believe we should be judged by the content of our character, then I'm asking for your support. And if you believe this election should be about the issues, who has the better policies and ideas, and who is best for the job, then I ask for your vote in the Democratic primary election this March and again in November. You see, we know what the Republican tactics will be. A flood of lies and attacks designed to turn blacks against whites, city against country, and you against me. They are experts in the politics of division. It's how they've gotten here. Division is how Trump got elected and then re-elected. This election is about adding voices to our electorate, about multiplying turnout with a robust operation and a unifying message that asks, how is it that Texas is prospering, but the people are struggling? We have the 8th largest economy in the world, yet kids go hungry. Seniors have to skip their prescriptions. Parents are forced to choose between braces for their children or hospice for their parents. We are the #1 state in exports, driving the American economy, yet somehow we are also #1 in uninsured women and children. The state is thriving while the people are facing tribulation. We are better than that, tougher than that, and Texas deserves better, and together we will. This campaign is for those who believe that the government should work harder than the people it serves. This campaign is for every single person that is done with politics as usual, that's fed up with the establishment, that's sick and tired of being sick and tired. Texas has no shortage of talent, no shortage of ideas, grit, or tenacity. Our state powers this nation. Our economy drives the world. Texas is a big boy state made up of brawlers and people with a moral code. Our representation should reflect that, and sadly enough, it doesn't. After evaluating the data, analyzing the trends, researching historic numbers, and combing over the crosstabs, it was clear the numbers were strongest for my candidacy for the United States.
Let's go.
That's why I decided to enter this race, because otherwise I would have continued doing what I've always done, which is support whichever candidate had the strongest numbers. So I want to be clear. I'm not running just to run. This is about winning.
You ain't never laughed. You ain't never laughed.
As a candidate who is constantly attacked and seen as a threat, it's because I am.
You ain't never laughed.
I'm a threat to the system that's been holding us back from our full potential. I'm a threat to a system that works to protect politics as usual, that seeks to maintain the despair and unfairness in our state. I'm a threat to those that have lost their moral compass, abandoned their purpose, and want to be kings instead of public servants. I'm the only candidate in this race who has served on the federal level, has taken on this administration, and sought accountability. I'm the only one who has gone toe-to-toe with Donald Trump, and there's a reason he's always got my name in his mouth. There's a reason John Cornyn has been attacking me since before I even entered this race. There's a reason folks have tried everything they could think of to try to keep me out of this race. And I believe that's because Trump has seen the same numbers I have. I have a track record of getting people out to vote, moving people who were disillusioned with politics and felt like their vote didn't matter. Since running for public service, I have vowed to increase accountability, accessibility to every office I've held. Through it all, I've never lost sight of the people.
Let's go.
I've built winning coalitions and brought together voters of all backgrounds, all stars and stripes, and every walk of life under the common belief that government should be of and for the people. Government should work to make living easy for those who work hard for a living. My message, rooted in slashing costs, making home ownership and entrepreneurship attainable for all, strengthening and growing the middle class, is one that Texas, all of Texas, from the Panhandle to Port Arthur and from El Paso to East Texas, can believe in. This campaign is about winning with a strong, multiracial, multi-generational coalition of people that is reflective of this great state that is, by the way, 61% people of color. There is room in this campaign for everyone who feels like our state is heading in the wrong direction. And that's the majority of Texans, whether you live in Dallas County or Dickens
comes
County.
down everything. It's such a
Groceries
big
are too expensive.
category that when gasoline
The light
comes
bill
down,
won't
sort of
stop going
everything
up.
sort of follows.
People are being crushed by their rent or their mortgages. That's why I'm running now, to get Texas back on track, to be a fighter for the middle class, hardworking Texans, ranchers, farmers, young families, oil workers, small businesses, and everyday people who make this state vibrant and make us an economic powerhouse. Today, under Trump and 3 decades of Republican rule in Texas, those very Texans are under daily attack. They are attacked for how they worship, who they love, what language their grandmother speaks. And you don't know who will be next on the chopping block. I'm running to protect Texans from these attacks and safeguard the rights our Constitution guarantees. I'm running to knock down the door to opportunities that have only been cracked open for the elite few. I'm running to make home ownership and entrepreneurship pillars of the American dream an obtainable reality for all Americans once more. I'm running to get Washington back to work on issues that actually matter. Together, we will send a signal to the entire nation. Don't mess with Texas. And certainly don't count us out. I believe I am the candidate in the strongest position to defeat whoever emerges after they finally get out of their stuff. Even if that's my buddy and dancing partner, John Cornyn. John Cornyn has spent 41 years in elected office, anyway, I'm not even gonna get off track. He's been an elected official since I was 3 years old. Speaking of 3, I want y'all to know that Cornyn has been in office so long that he collects 3 fat pensions, courtesy of you, the taxpayer, on top of his Senate salary, which is also paid for by you. By the time I graduated law school in 2006, Cornyn was already drawing his first pension. Guess Doge didn't catch that one, huh? But anyway, so after 4 decades and 4 fat checks every month, Cornyn has forgotten who sent him to the Senate. He's forgotten he works for 30 million people in Texas, not one Florida man who's never called this state home. About 2 pensions ago, Cornyn used to actually try and help Texas. He used to speak out against Trump, the candidate, and denounce the border wall. What happened, Big John? Because now all you're doing is bending the knee, kissing the ring, and running ads about how you vote 99% of the time with Trump.
Oh, shit.
Well, John,
Oh,
I kept
shit.
telling you, you had a 1% problem.
Oh, shit.
And the problem is putting the 1% of Americans who are billionaires before the 99% of us who have to wake up every day, clock in, and hustle to make ends meet.
Oh.
The 99% of us who had to go out and earn what is ours. It wasn't handed to us by daddy. At a time such as this, we cannot afford to have a senator who cowers away from a fight worth fighting. I will be tougher on behalf of all 30 million Texans. At the end of the day, the Republicans, they know they're in hot water. They shut the government down for more than 40 days and 40 nights while people scramble to make ends meet and keep America open. His economic policies and his tariffs have drained our bank accounts, forcing millions to live paycheck to paycheck. While SNAP funding hung in the balance and families had to figure out how they'd even put bread and water on the table, mothers fed their children bread with butter and a sprinkle of sugar to quiet those growling tummies.
Wait a minute now.
And while
Wait
this
a
was
damn
the
minute.
reality for middle America, Trump and
Wait
his
a damn
cronies were...
minute. No, I'm not knocking the possibility of somebody having to do that. But I'm quite sure they was already down bad like that in the first place, to be fair. Because if I'm putting butter and bread and a sprinkle of sugar on some bread, not to say it's far-fetched, it's French toast. No bullshit, right? Egg too, but yeah, I don't know about that, dog.
We're busy planning a lavish Thanksgiving feast. Now, Christmas is around the corner, and after a whole year of office with Trump, what has he done? Absolutely nothing to fulfill his #1 campaign promise, which was to bring down cost. Well, prices have tripled since Trump became president, and we're all feeling it. When I first got to Congress, I served on the Agriculture Committee. I worked on the Farm Bill and SNAP. And let me tell you, between delaying the Farm Bill, offering no real solutions on immigration, slashing SNAP, and slapping on tariffs, nobody has been hit harder than our farmers, ranchers, and the millions who grow our food. At a time when farmers are filing record bankruptcies, when grocery stores are going up even more to cover the cost of all of their economic loss activity because of the SNAP cuts, and as more rural hospitals close in Texas than anywhere else, how can our senator go along with this? How can he vote for 99% of this and then ask for yet another term with a straight face? John, you listening?
Oh, shit.
You're the only one in Texas who gets 4 checks to do 1 job.
I count somebody else's money.
There are households where both parents work 2 jobs. The oldest child has to get a job as soon as they legally can, and still the family is barely keeping their head above water. That is the reality for far too many people. But John Cornyn and his MAGA buddies, or shall I say frenemies, since we never know how he really feels about MAGA. They're so far out of touch with reality. They live in their own worlds. The cost of everything has gone up except for wages. People are working more and they're working harder. But that check is looking just the same, and that dollar doesn't stretch as far. They'll tell you that my agenda is out of left field, when in reality, it's just right for Texas. My agenda is affordability, it's healthcare, it's energy independence, it's American manufacturing, it's protecting our natural resources, it's providing the best education to every child and not saddling them with lifelong debt in the process. When prices are lower, that dollar goes further. Consumers have more confidence in spending power, businesses thrive, and our economy is healthy. The more people that are insured, the less healthcare will cost for all of us. If we spend on preventative care, we can save way more instead of waiting until somebody is sick. When we invest in clean energy, your utility bill goes down. When we build more housing, the rents and mortgages come down. When we have more affordable child care, Head Start, and universal pre-care, then families will have that huge burden lifted from them. Child care has become a second rent. Y'all say amen if you got children, because y'all know I ain't got none. I heard they expensive.
They are, and I think another part of it is, I think even as a member of Congress, she's out of touch with the average American person. Again, when I was streaming on the regular before the Thanksgiving break, it was more of a fact of when the government was shut down, Medicare, Medicaid, SNAP. All Democrats talked about in that sequence before, and even to today, I'm not on that. I've been that teenager that had to go work. I'm a grown man now with a son. And while you're attacking John for his 4 pensions, it almost makes you think, all right, damn, what did he do to gain those pensions in the first place? Was it all public service? Was it something else? All right, cool. I get it, time served. But also, I know that can't be the base of how we're going to start this, comparing a senator's salary and his wages, comparing, I guess, the rich and the poor, and talk about how we're not going to go make this an attack on race and all other stuff. It's kind of like, kind of crazy. Just to be real, I support Jasmine Crocket on this channel, so don't get it twisted. However, it's just a fact of, it's almost bullshit. Because to be fair, you don't even hear the crowd hype as much as the fan base will be in the comments. But whatever.
My whole platform is rooted in my belief that life should be more affordable for those who make America run. It's centered around opportunity and a fair shake to work hard, get ahead, and have a chance to earn your dream no matter your story. To live in a country where you know your rights will be protected at every level, to feel safe walking down the street. That's what I have always fought to do, and I won't let up now. The stakes and the prices are way too high. That is why Democrats are truly about. This is what Democrats is truly about, and it's our opportunity now to remind the nation of what it looks like when we put our values into action. While Democrats were working overtime to protect health care and lower cost of insurance, prescriptions, and the care you need to be alive, Trump was too busy golfing, y'all. I don't even want to tell y'all how much money y'all spent on that. He was looking over carpet patterns and paint swatches. Y'all know.
You know what they're going to do? They're going to go further in her expenses and be like, hey, this is what Jasmine Crocket was spending to fly across the country for what it is. And then it'll be just an expense. Look what the lifestyle she's living. And it'll just be a tick for tack. It doesn't help the American people, to be fair.
For his little room. Anyway, while Americans had to decide between paying the car note or paying the mortgage, Trump's toughest choice was between Chantilly lace or alabaster for his billionaire ballroom. The American people have been watching, and even those who weren't watching, they felt the effects and know the pain. Trump's unpopular policies will cost him the Republican majority in the Congress. He knows that, and that's why he called Greg Abbott and said, I need 5 seats from Texas. I'm entitled to them. And Abbott got right to it. Well, Trump, I know you're watching, so let me tell you directly, you're not entitled to a damn thing in Texas. You better get to work, because I'm coming for you. He knew he would lose, so Trump did what he always does. resort to lying, cheating, and stealing. He has rigged our elections once again by changing the lines in the middle of an election cycle. And the cherry on the top, Trump drew me out of my home district. I know he's tired of me holding him accountable, dismantling his lies, and I know he's tired of me breaking through to millions of Americans, tired of me getting people out to vote, tired of me living in his head rent-free. Well, Mr. President, you couldn't beat me at the ballot box. And so, as y'all know, a judge that you appointed, Mr. President, he said your maps were unconstitutional, but you ran it up to your loyal activist cronies at the Supreme Court and snatched representation away from almost 500,000 people I represented right here in CD30. Well, I'm here to tell you, Donald Trump, you won't get rid of me that easily. I'm not going away. I'm not giving up. I still believe in this country. I still believe that we are in the land of opportunity. I still believe in the bright beacon of hope amidst a sea of despair. I still believe Texas will lead the way and prove to this nation and the world what I know to be true. So I'm asking you, will you join me in this campaign? Will you join me in the work and turn this moment into a movement? I'm asking you to wake up every day between now and November, yes, every day, and ask yourself daily, what am I going to do today to elect the leadership I wish to see? Who I'm going to call today about why I need to vote? What will my contribution to turning Texas blue be? It's also why I've sought to bring about unity within our party as well. I did my best to make sure that we had a strong ticket with candidates running up and down the ballot. We're not leaving any races out. Everything is on the line. I need you to know that this is bigger than any one person and any one candidate. Us to win this race, we have to win together. We have to run as a team. Like I said before, and we'll keep echoing, this isn't about me. This isn't about them. It's about you. We're going to go and win this election for the people. As I close, I want to send a message to Donald Trump and the whole nation. Don't take Texas for granted, and don't count us out. It's our time. We are one. God bless Texas, and let freedom ring.
Let me go back a little bit.
Save millions.
So, you get a better picture, I guess. My quick thoughts. I think she has a good chance to make history. But I think that this speech was a little bit of Memdani, a little bit of I'm trying to attack John Cornyn. I just want to, really kind of, hey, Trump, you're listening. The speech did inspire me to say, hey, yeah, I'm going to go vote. She draws a crowd by herself, but the rollout's kind of blah. On a scale of 10, I'm giving the rollout like a 6.5, no bullshit. But especially with these teleprompters, like even full screen, if you can see the teleprompters on both sides. So clearly there's a speech that was written that was going different places, but I don't know. All put together, I think it'll be a competitive race. I think it'll have to be actual issues. I don't think Democrats have actually addressed a lot of issues they want to talk about next cycle outside of attacking Trump. And it's almost a fact of, respectfully, I tell it anybody that call for relationship advice is like, damn, how long you gonna talk about your ex? When you gonna get over it? When you gonna find a way to find a solution to the shit they doing to get out of the relationship, right? And getting out of the relationship can't just be voting. It has to be talking about the issues that's gonna make people go vote. So all put together, that's that. I miss our President Trump earlier. Let's see what President Trump was talking about the $12 billion aid for farmers that are grappling with tariffs.
But we inherited a mess, affordability, but you can call it affordability or anything you want, but the Democrats caused the affordability problem, and we're the ones that are fixing it. So it's a very simple statement. They caused it, we're fixing it, and they have a tendency to just say this election's based on affordability, and nobody questions them, John. Nobody says, oh, well, what do you mean by that? But they just say the word. They never say anything else because they caused the problem, but we're fixing the problem. And we're pleased to be joined today by many of the wonderful members of the farming community, as well as the Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins. Brooke, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. Thank you very much, Scott. Senator John Bozeman. Thank you, John. Good job. John Hoven. Thank you, John. And Deb Fisher. Thank you very much. As well as Representative Austin Scott, who's been with us right from the beginning. Thank you, Austin. Good job. I'm delighted to announce this afternoon that the United States will be taking a small portion of the hundreds of billions of dollars we receive in tariffs. We are making a lot of money from countries that took advantage of us for years. They took advantage of us like nobody's ever seen. Our deficits are way down because of tariffs. I guess because of the election. Because without the election, you wouldn't have tariffs. You'd be sitting here losing your shirt. But we're taking in billions. We're really taking in trillions of dollars, if you think about it, Scott, because the real number is, you know, when you think of all the money being poured into the country for new auto plants and all of the other things, AI. So what we're doing is we're taking a relatively small portion of that, and we're going to be giving and providing it to the farmers in economic assistance. And we love our farmers, and as you know, the farmers like me, because you know, based on voting trends, you could call it voting trends or anything else, but they're great people. They're the backbone of our country. So we're going to use that money to provide $12 billion in economic assistance to American farmers. $12 billion is a lot of money, Meryl. What do you think? Peanuts for you, though, right? Peanuts. She's a farmer of rice. This relief will provide much-needed certainty to farmers as they get this year's harvest to market and look ahead to next year's crops, and it'll help them continue their efforts to lower food prices for American families. And again, we inherited something that we inherited the worst inflation in the history of our country, and we're taking care of it. Farmers are an indispensable national asset, part of the backbone of America. I've always felt it so strongly. They're so important. Unfortunately, under sleepy Joe Biden, he was a sleepy guy, our farmers were crushed by the worst inflation in modern history and crippling restrictions on energy, water, and countless other necessities for farmers. And what they did to the farmer in terms of putting the brakes on was just absolutely unacceptable. In my first term, we had an agricultural trade surplus by a lot. We had a big surplus, meaning we were exporting American agricultural products all over the world, making a net profit, and in many cases a very substantial profit. He came in and ruined it. Biden turned that surplus into a gaping agricultural deficit that continues to this day, but we're knocking it down. It's starting to go very good. In fact, China, as you know, is buying a tremendous amount of soybeans, and the number, I spoke with President Xi recently, very recently, and I think he's going to do even more than he promised to do. So I think the relationship is a very good one. I think he's going to do more than he promised to do, and what he promised to do is a lot. So we're very happy with that. In the last year, Biden bankruptcies rose by 55%, having to do with farms. So farm bankruptcies under Joe Biden went up 55%. That's not good. But now we're once again in a position where a president is able to put farmers first. But unfortunately, I'm the only president that does that. On day one, I terminated the Green New Scam. Energy prices are down. Gasoline prices are down. We've slashed record numbers of crippling regulations, and we're working on huge trade deals, already securing $60 billion in agricultural purchase commitments. And, you know, Biden made none. He didn't make any trade deals having to do with the farmers or any of it. It's crazy. China committed. He was the worst president in the history of our country, by the way, in case anybody has any questions. China committed to over $40 billion of soybean purchases, and that's a commitment. And I asked President Xi if he could even up it. And I think he'll do that. I mean, not a commitment. The $40 billion is a commitment, but the soybean farmers are quite happy. Since my successful meeting in South Korea with President Xi, purchases have been made and soybeans are being exported out of the United States to China as we speak. And I say that our soybeans, I told this to President Xi, our soybeans are more nutritious than competitors. Somebody said, is that a Trump statement or is that real? In fact, you know who asked me that question? President Xi asked me that question. He said, really, I had never heard of it. And he was a food purchaser for a long time. But that's what I hear. And Japan agreed to $8 billion in purchases of corn, soybeans, ethanol, fertilizer, aviation, biofuel, and rice. You know, Japan never bought rice from anybody else. It's like a very important thing to them. And they agreed to buy rice, okay?
Absolutely.
So I also proudly signed into law the largest tax cuts in history, and the one big, beautiful bill, the monumental tax relief bill that is benefiting very, very strongly, benefiting the American farmer. And I think also for farmers, we have, as you know, and we got this, the estate tax, or the death tax, as they call it, on farmers, on small businesses. You don't have to pay it anymore. A lot of farms, you love your children, and your children are great, and they want to be farmers, and you leave the farm with your children, and a lot of farms are, you know, sort of cash poor, land-rich cash poor, and the kids would go to the local bank or to any bank, and they'd borrow money to pay the estate tax, and they'd end up losing the farm. They go bankrupt, and a lot of death too, you know, literally. Because they love their farm and they love their business and they love that way of life, they end up committing suicide. A lot of suicides. We have no more estate tax. How about that? Do you have children?
I do.
Well, let them know. Now, if you love your children, then it's good. If you don't love your children, you don't have to leave them anything. It doesn't matter what I just said.
They're still young. I still love them.
I have a feeling you love
I
them.
still love them.
I have a feeling you love your children. But the estate tax is a very big thing, so you don't have estate tax. You die, you leave your farm or whatever, or small business to your children, you don't have to pay estate tax. It seems to affect the farmer more than anybody else. Because you can have a farm that's very valuable, and therefore you have to pay a big tax, but it's not a big value in terms of cash. Maximizing domestic farm production is a big part of how we will make America affordable again, and bring down grocery prices for American families. And again, these are prices that we inherited. When I left, we were doing incredible. In 4 years, what they've done to this country in so many, and not even mentioning the book.
I don't know about that now, Trump, because had a pandemic, formula shortage in this bitch. Interest rates were lower than a bitch. I give you that, but I don't know. I don't know, because I think the gas price was really lower because everybody was home from the pandemic. Zoom stock was popping. If you were in Zoom stock 2017, 2018, and the pandemic hit, everything was low. If you had 100 shares, 1,000 shares of Zoom,
border and the criminals allowed into our country and all of the other. So I just want to say it's a tremendous honor being with you. I'd now like to ask Secretary Rollins to provide some of the details, followed by Secretary Bessent, Director of the National Economic Council, Kevin Hassett, Senator Bozeman, Representative Scott, and then we go to a couple of the farmers' representatives, but we'll all get involved a little bit. You can speak. Anybody is shy to speak in front of the press, and I don't blame you if that's the case, but farmers, Court Holub and Merrill Kennedy will say a few words also, and then we'll have a little discussion, okay? Madam Secretary.
Thank you to the greatest boss in the world for a long time now. It's just an honor to be here. I'm going to keep my comments very short because I really want to make sure that you and the world gets to hear from our farmers. So a couple of quick points. Number one, this country and our farm economy is facing a crisis that we inherited that most of these farmers have not seen in their lifetime. Profitability is down. It's just one crisis after another. When we came into office, sir, when you did, and you were sworn in on January the 20th, as you mentioned, not one new trade deal had been struck in 4 years. The cost of inputs for our farmers Fertilizer up 36%, manual labor up 47%, interest rates up 73%. When you combine the cost of inputs for our farmers, married to no new trade deals, and then you're facing an administration whose priorities were DEI, climate change, putting the farmer aside. I mean, it was an absolute war on agriculture and on our rural communities. That all changed on January 20th. So as, sir, we are working, and you have been just so resolute. I mean, these are our people. Rural America is the fabric of our country. This is the way of life that preserves the American dream for the next 250 years as we celebrate the first 250 years. So we began to go to work immediately. What these elected officials sitting across from us did with the One Big Beautiful Bill, with a lot of help and direction from you, was the largest investment in rural America in any of our lifetimes. We will begin to see that effectuated next year in 2026. As we have fought to bring input costs down, you have talked about, and even this weekend did an executive order, signed one, on looking into the reason that so much of these costs have been driven up over and over. Equipment, again, fertilizer, seed, et cetera, we have to make sure we understand why that is. And then the continuing of the additional trade deals across the world. And no longer will America be held and beholden to the regime of other countries' tariff infrastructure. Instead, we are moving our products out across the world. Having said that, and we have been listening to the farmers for the last 10 months, 11 months, sir, that the bridge that is needed to get from the last administration and what basically happened under the last president and the last U.S. Department of Agriculture to this new golden age for farmers, where instead of farming for government checks, they can farm to feed their family and sell their products and pass it on to the next generation, that this bridge is absolutely necessary based on where we are right now. So as the president said, we are very pleased to announce that today we are going to be effectuating an $11 billion bridge payment to our farmers. The money will move by February 28th of 2026, but by the end of this month, so just in the next couple of weeks, every farmer that is able to apply for it will know exactly what that number looks like. So as you are going to your lender, as you are working to ensure and understanding what you can plant for next year, you will have that number in hand. And we will continue to talk to our farmers, continue to understand exactly what this looks like and what is necessary. The final thing I'll say is
12 billion.
Well, we are holding $1 billion back. So today we are announcing $11 billion. We are holding $1 billion back just to ensure that we are covering. So today's announcement covers all of our row crops, but some specialty crops and others that we are still working with to best understand where they are in the farm economy and ensure that we're making every forward-moving position that we need to. And then finally, as we move to this new golden age for agriculture and for rural America, as we continue to fight for these farmers and ranchers, their way of life, and those that are represented here represent hundreds of thousands of farmers across this country. Just know that this president, I have never been around anyone who every time we talk, he asks, how are my farmers? Every single time. So we will never stop fighting. We will make sure that we're doing everything we can to ensure the next 250 years is just as bright, if not brighter, than the last. So thank you, sir.
Thank you. And this money would not be possible without tariffs. The tariffs are taking in, hundreds of billions of dollars, and we're giving some up to the farmers because they were mistreated by other countries for, I don't know, maybe right reasons, maybe wrong reasons. They weren't. They were trying to show us something, and it's really worked out really well. But because of the tariffs, this is possible. The other thing I'd like to add before going to Scott, and I think it's very important, we're going to also give the tractor companies, John Deere and all of the companies that make the equipment, we're going to take off a lot of the environmental restrictions that they have on machinery. It's ridiculous. I know because I buy a lot of that machinery for different things. We have a lot of big clubs with, hundreds, thousands of acres. And I buy a lot of stuff, and you buy it, it's got so much equipment on it for the environmental, it doesn't do anything, except it makes the equipment much more expensive and much more complicated to work, and it's not as good as the old days. And we're going to take a lot of that nonsense off of the equipment, which is going to reduce, and we're going to do it, and we're going to say you're going to reduce the prices. We're not going to do it and they're not going to reduce. They're going to have to reduce their prices because farming equipment has gotten too expensive. And a lot of the reason is because they put these environmental excesses on the equipment, which don't do a damn thing except make it complicated, make it impractical. And you really have to be, in many cases, you need about 185 IQ to turn on a lawnmower now. So we're going to take that off, that crap off that they put on Biden mostly. And we're going to take that off. So that's going to make a big, that'll bring down the equipment prices a lot.
That's right.
And we're
Doesn't the president's tan look a little like more orangish than usual, or is it the lighting? Like the hair is one thing. He just maybe it's a tie. He just looks like a paler orange than normal.
We're going to do that immediately. You're going to work with Lee Zeldin, who's not here. He's doing a fantastic job, and Lee is going to work that out. And that would be most of it. It's crazy. The machines, they're always under repair because they're so complicated that you can't fix them. The old days you used to fix it yourself. Now you can't do that. You have to be a PhD from, let's say, MIT. Okay, so we're going to get that done. Scott, please go ahead.
Good. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you to the farmers to join us today. And I will tell all of you here that when either in person or when we are on a call with President Xi, the first thing the president asking for is more soybean purchases.
That's right.
We don't talk about geopolitics. We don't talk about trade. It's about soybean
We
purchases.
don't even say hello. We immediately start. Soybean. We start with the soybean, please.
Could you do a little? It's always could you do a little more? So, and I think President Xi has heard President Trump. This group represents an American way of life that has fed our nation and its spirit for hundreds of years. You are the caretakers of the most productive agricultural country on earth. You drive hundreds of billions of dollars in exports, support millions of jobs, and keep America's economy running strong. And this administration is committed to keeping it that way. By putting farmers first, President Trump is ushering in a new golden age for agriculture. The President's $11 billion relief package for America's farmers comes at a critical time. These direct payments will give producers the breathing room they need to market this year's harvest and plan for next season. This serves as a liquidity bridge during a period of adjustment, supporting the strongest agricultural sector in the world. Add this to President's success in reining in Biden-era inflation, thanks to the administration's pro-growth policies, input costs like fuel and fertilizer are easing, and credit conditions are improving, interest rates are coming down, helping farmers prepare for the next harvest. President Trump scored a massive victory for America's farmers when he secured an arrangement with President Xi in Busan to reopen China's markets to U.S. agricultural exports, especially soybeans, sorghum, and other commodities. Under this framework, China committed to purchase at least 12 million metric tons of U.S. soybeans this growing season, followed by a minimum of 25 million tons annually for the next 3 years. And it's not just China. At the President's direction, Treasury, USTR, and the Department of Commerce have secured supplemental purchases of U.S. agricultural goods in major trade agreements across the world to open new markets to America's farmers. The One Big Beautiful Bill also delivered transformative benefits for America's small farmers. It locked in full expensing for farm equipment and 100% expensing for farm structures built during the President's term. I believe Representative Scott and a group in the House, we were originally just going to do factories, and they called us and said, you need to do farm structures too, and the President said, we're all in. And it extended and enhanced much needed relief from the punishing death tax, giving family farms greater certainty as they plan for the next generation. Mr. President, thank you for putting America first by putting your farmers first. Through pro-growth, pro-farm agenda, you are ushering in a new golden age for American agriculture, and Treasury is proud to help in this.
Thank you, Scott. You know what we'll do? We're going to go a little faster because the last meeting we had was 3 hours. We're the most transparent group, so if we can go faster, it'll be great. And then we'll take some questions from the fake news. Is that okay? All right. Kevin, go real fast, Kevin.
Yeah, I could go really fast, sir. Yeah. Sir, the farm economy, you always ask me to just get a few numbers to put it in perspective. And as I've looked through the incredible performance of these people that work so hard and are such important people for keeping communities alive, the thing that struck me the most, because you and I were here in the White House during COVID, is that during those terrible COVID times, farm production didn't go down. Like these farmers, they went to work every day and they produced so much. But then Joe Biden came in, so we had COVID, and farm production didn't go down. And then Joe Biden came in, and he really wrecked the farm economy. And so during Biden's term,
I respect y'all time, but as much as y'all respect mine, I'm not gonna sit here and listen to this bullshit if I'm gonna have
Farming.
Well, your team answered. Feed this nation has been monumental for our India
Give me
right now.
give me the countries if you could.
Really struggling. I mean, this is not just a crisis. I would say it's almost a market dynamics that really are true anti-competitive nature, right? So it follows what you sent out this weekend, and we do believe that countries are dumping rice into this country today. We've never seen imports this great.
Which countries?
India, Thailand. Even China into Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico used to be one of the largest markets for U.S. rice. We haven't shipped rice into Puerto Rico in years. So this has been happening for years. This didn't start during your administration, but unfortunately, we're seeing it in a much bigger way now. The tariffs are working, but we need to double down because
You want more? I mean,
well, they're cheating, right? They're not. They're just
Could I
subsidizing and then
Scott,
and then
India. Tell me about India. Why is India allowed to do that? They have to pay tariffs. Do they have an exemption on rice?
No, sir, we're still working on their trade deal, so
Yeah, but they should be dumping. I mean, I heard that from London. So you can't do that.
there's a WTO case against India
Give me
right now.
give me the countries if you could. Go ahead. India. Who else?
So
Mark it
India,
down. Which is good.
Yes, sir.
India, Thailand, China into Puerto Rico, not into the continental U.S., but into Puerto Rico. Those are the main culprits.
So Puerto Rico used to do a lot of business, and now you're
100% Puerto Rico was U.S. based.
All right.
And
So
now
easy to
it's,
settle. Okay.
but there's others too, and I can get you a full list. as
Give me
well.
a full list. Yeah.
Of course I can.
All right.
So.
Go ahead.
So truly, this is a national security issue. I think you put it just perfectly. And so I want for all of us in the room to know that rice is more than just a commodity. It's a currency in many of these countries.
And you love rice, right?
I love rice. Yes, I'm going to get you to love rice too. You know, the next time you're not going to have a button for a Coke, you're going to have a button for a rice. You know?
Get a little bit of rice.
But
The farmers love what they do.
That's true. Well, our farmers can feed this nation and many nations abroad, but we need fair trade, not free trade. And so we appreciate what you've done today. We appreciate what you did in the big, beautiful bill. I mean, my word, you really changed reference prices. And, we're hopeful that we can even move that further. I know that rice prices right now are the lowest they've been in over 40 years. So we're going to struggle. We're going to max out on our payments probably. So that's something that I know those in Congress can potentially help us with to change. But again, we appreciate everything you're doing.
That's solved so quickly with tariffs to these countries that are illegally shipping. It's solved. Your problem is solved in one day. That's why we have to win the Supreme Court case. In one day, that problem's solved. It's so unfair. They go out of business. They put everyone out of business. That's what they did to our car industry. We lost more than 50% of our car industry because of that. We lost our chip industry. Went to Taiwan because of that. If you had a president that said, no, you can't do that, it's 100% or 200% tariff on chips if you make them outside of the United States, we would have never lost our chip industry. But we're going to have 40 or 50% of it back very shortly because they're all coming in now from Taiwan. They're building chip companies. But it's the same thing with rice. Thank you, darling, very much.
Thank
Really
you.
nice. Well, it'll be good. We'll get it solved very quickly. We just need the countries. We just give us the names of the countries.
Yeah.
Tariffs
They
again.
own
It
the
solves
largest
the problem in 2 minutes.
Yeah, they've bought the largest brands at retail too, right? So they have an incentive to subsidize their products so that they can keep it on the
Yeah,
shelf.
who did that?
Where is the
The
press, man?
Indians
I'm
and
talking,
the-
I'm talking about no rights.
Two largest brands.
Then we'll take care of it. It's
Thank
it's so easy.
And this is
We have it normalized, and it'll go down even a little bit further. You don't want it to be deflation either. You have to be careful. But we brought it way down. We had inflation that was the highest in the history of our country. They say 48 years,
That's four.
but I say the
That should
history.
be
48
boring
years is
for
pretty
real.
bad too, right? So we're solving those problems.
President Trump,
We're
would
bringing
you-
them way down. Yeah.
Would you consider MAHA incentives for farmers that go by MAHA guidelines?
Well, a lot of the farmers like those MAHA guidelines. Yeah. So I mean, they do. We like MAHA. How do you feel about
Yeah,
that?
let me answer that. So this is another reason, I didn't mention it, but this is another reason I think that what we're moving into is a golden age for agriculture. As Secretary Kennedy and I, and across our cabinet with the president's leadership, focusing on making America healthy again, the undergirding foundational effort in that is our agriculture industry. It is our farmers and our ranchers. So as the new dietary guidelines come out in early January, where USDA alone spends $400 million a day on nutrition programs, that's a whole other SNAP, fraud, et cetera. But when you think about what a market mover that is, as we begin to move the market toward more locally produced, American-made, healthier products closer to the schools, the hospitals, et cetera, you again begin to open up so much of the market for the great products produced by these farmers instead of ultra-processed foods out of a box. So there's a lot that's going to be coming on that as well. I'm really
Mr.
excited.
President, I have one more question. It's not related to farming, but if you'll entertain. I'm Kara from Lindell TV, Kara Kashnov, and I'm not fake news, just so you know. And everybody's talking about the pipe bomber over the weekend, the suspect that was taken into custody. I reported on Biden's kangaroo court for 4 years. And this is an important question to me. Everyone knows that J6 was a Fed's direction to set you and your supporters up. So my question is, what's your gut instinct about the new pipe bomber suspect taken into custody? Does your instinct tell you that he acted alone? And also, Mr. President, how do you feel about the lead prosecutor on the pipe bomber case? Jocelyn Ballantine is the same prosecutor that allegedly asked the J6er to lie to frame you for J6 when you did nothing wrong. What are your thoughts?
Well, thank you. I really appreciate
Lord,
that
that's
question. It's sort of a statement, and I appreciate it very much.
this is
Jocelyn
from the
is
press
being
conference.
looked at. They all have to be looked at. What they're doing is so bad. This was a whole Democrat hoax. The whole thing was a Democrat hoax,
That's great.
and it's all being looked at. I appreciate
Is
that.
this the final aid package, Mr. President, or is more expected? Is this the final aid package, farm aid
It
package?
depends on where we go. China's buying a lot. Other countries are buying a lot. And, you know, the interesting thing about the farm, they don't want aid. They want to just have a level playing field.
No, please.
I've seen that more with farmers than anybody else, any other industry, right, Deb?
right.
We've seen it more with farmers where I've had meetings like this, primarily in the first term, and we did a great job. We turned it around. This is going to be the golden age. But the farmers don't want aid. They want to have a level playing field, because if they have a level playing field, they'll do better than anybody else. They're better than anybody else. Our product is incredible. Our machinery is incredible, right? I mean, we do have the best machines. It's a very big statement I made, though. The environmental excess that we have put onto our tractors and all of our machinery. Do you all agree with that, by the way? You don't
It's got to go.
It doesn't do anything except make the machines break all the time.
Yeah.
And I must say, I like to buy old machinery. I said, buy old,
Yes.
because it's better. The new stuff is terrible. It never works. Never works.
Mr. President, you said that you would have no,
Yeah, listen to
Mr.
this.
President, you said you would have no problem with releasing the full video of that strike on September 2nd off the coast of Venezuela. Secretary Hegseth
I
now
didn't say
says,
that.
you,
You said that. I didn't say that. This is ABC fake news.
you said that you would have no problem releasing the full bit. Okay, well, Secretary Hegseth,
Whatever Hegseth wants to do is okay with me.
he now says it's under review. Are you ordering the secretary to release that full video?
Whatever he
Let's see out
decides is
there.
okay with me. So every boat we knock out of the water, every boat, we save 25,000 American lives. That was a boat loaded up with drugs. I saw the video. They were trying to turn the boat back to where it could float. And we didn't want to see that, because that boat was loaded up with drugs just like everything else. But every boat we shoot down, and I don't know if you know, we're 92 or 94% down in drugs coming in by the sea. And we're trying to find who are the 6%. Because I don't know, people aren't liking to drive boats right now loaded up with drugs. But every single, think of that, every single boat we shoot out, on average, we saved 25,000 American lives. Do you feel okay about that, Cord?
Keep us safe.
Okay, I know my man. What about you, Bill? Are you okay with that?
I'm totally fine with
Are you
that.
committed to releasing the full video?
Didn't I just tell you that?
You said that it was
You're
up
the
to
most
Secretary Hicks.
obnoxious reporter in the whole place. Let me just tell you, you are an obnoxious, actually a terrible reporter. And it's always the same thing with you. I told you, whatever Pete Hegseth wants to do is okay with me.
Mr. President, touch on the midterms, and I just have a quick question. There's at least 20 House Republicans who have either said they're going to retire or not run again. Do you
And
have any
Democrats
concerns
also.
about the
And Democrats.
Right. Do you have
Well,
any
why don't you mention them? How many Democrats are going to retire?
Oh, she wasn't black.
How many
That's
Democrats?
why I laughed too
Well,
hard.
that's what I was going to
No,
ask
no,
you.
but
Do
why
you
don't you
have-
tell me the number of Democrats, too? You tell me
Are you
about...
concerned about the narrow margins? And
No, I'm not concerned. I think we're going to do well.
Is among them, and
We will have the
Nassau
greatest
County
economy.
Bruce Blakeman, who you know as well, is considering running for
We're going
governor.
to have the greatest economy in history. How many Democrats are retiring? How come you only know the Republicans but not the
Because I
Democrats?
came prepared to ask you a question
No,
about...
no, you're unprepared because you should know the Democrats. You're totally unprepared. Go ahead.
Well, can I ask a quick follow-up
Trump
about...
asked today.
I'm with New York Newsday, and I also have a quick follow-up. Congresswoman Elise Stefanik is among those who is running for
She's
New York
great.
governor.
She's great.
Bruce Blakeman, who you also know
He's
is
also
Nassau County.
great.
Are you planning on making any
Well, I'll
endorsements?
think
or
about it,
any
but he's
choices?
great and she's great. They're both great people.
I
We have a lot of
agree with
great
you.
people in the
He not all the
Republican
way
Party.
off.
Go ahead.
Can I get back to farming?
Yeah.
So you talked about the profitability issue, the machinery playing a role in that, and
Right.
fertilizer plays another role in that. A
Right.
lot of that, the way I understand it, it comes in from Canada, different countries like that. What are we doing to bolster domestic fertilizer
but it's like
production to help
leading
make that
questions and got you
more
questions.
affordable? And then I think that will
Well,
transition
one
down
of the
the pipe.
things, a lot of it does come in from Canada.
does.
And so we'll end up putting very severe tariffs on that if we have to, because that's the way you want to bolster here. And we can do it here. We can all do that here. But I would say what you do, you put very severe tariffs on from coming into other countries. You'll be making your own fertilizer very soon.
In fact, Secretary Burgum, this cabinet is so remarkable. Instead of just seeing each other every month, we're literally talking every day, multiples of times a day. But our Secretary of the Interior, I, and Secretary Besson and others, we have a whole plan in place, including the reshoring of fertilizer and the opportunity to do it in America. Having said that, we've also, per the president's guidance, issued a directive. These fertilizer companies, the seed companies, the equipment companies, all of the above, as our farmers have struggled year over year, the meat packing companies continue to make, a lot of money, hand over fist, a lot of foreign-owned companies. So that's why the president has been very unequivocal in saying we got to figure out why all these input costs are skyrocketing and all of our farmers are struggling, which we're going to do.
So
That is
when
a
they
great
take-
question.
When
and
they
very
take
important.
like fertilizer out of the country, all of a sudden we don't do it anymore. Then they start charging and sending the, very high prices from other countries, whether it's Canada or somebody else. We're not going to let that happen. Okay?
Mr. President, on the quality of foreign produce, you spoke about soybeans and how the quality here in the United States obviously is a lot better.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, is the default of this administration, because that's an issue I understand with root vegetables, citrus as well, is the default of this administration that even if it's a little bit more expensive homegrown, you will choose homegrown over cheaper produce abroad?
I like homegrown. Some things we can't grow because we don't have the heat.
Homegrown too,
There are some things, little delicacies or maybe not such delicacies, but they grow better in warmer climates, very warm climates actually. But for the most part, I like homegrown.
Mr. President, thank you. One on this announcement and then one on foreign policy, if I may. Are you open to tapping into tariff revenue again should farmers find they need additional relief to get to that level?
Yeah, I am. If we're going to make the farmers so strong, and I'm not even talking about financially, because they just want to be able to produce what they can produce, and we're going to make them so strong that it will be indeed a golden age for farmers.
And then on Russia and
We had it going in the first administration, and then Biden came in and ruined everything. They had no idea what they would. They did. I mean, I think they hated the farmer. I love the farmer.
And
That's
then,
why I got 94% of the vote from the farmers. But they hated the farmers. I love the farmers. Go ahead.
And then on Russia and Ukraine, obviously your administration has been having talks with each side. Given that there is no peace deal at this point, will your administration stay engaged in those talks to effort a peace deal?
We just want to see people stop from being killed. You know, we don't, as you know, Joe Biden gave them $350 billion.
There you go.
You know, and I gave them nothing. I gave them, well, I did give them javelins at the beginning and knocked out a hell of a lot of attacks. But and Obama gave sheets. Remember, Obama gave sheets and I gave javelins. But no, we have a great situation going over there, except for one problem. You got a lot of people dying, and I want to see that stop. So you have mostly Ukrainian soldiers and Russian soldiers. Last month, 27,000 soldiers died, mostly soldiers. A few people from the dropping of a missile in the middle of Kiev or wherever, which is a terrible thing. But mostly soldiers. 27,000 soldiers died last month. That's what I want to see stopped. We, as you know, we now sell equipment to NATO at full price, and NATO takes that equipment and probably gives it to Ukraine. I guess they could give it to others too, but for the most part, give it to Ukraine. And they're working with Ukraine in terms of distribution of equipment, missiles, etc. But we aren't spending money. What we are doing is spending time on a humane basis. We want to see if we can stop the killing of 27. It would have never happened. This war would have never happened if the election weren't rigged. If I were president, this war would have never happened.
President Trump, your question. If you could
Real quick, I'm gonna end that there because no, fuck it. We're gonna listen to some.
I want about the soybean purchases. You talked a lot, obviously, about China's soybean purchases. Some lawmakers from North and South Carolina have raised concern that U.S. tobacco farmers were told that China would not purchase flu-cured tobacco this year. Has that come up in your conversations at all?
I haven't heard that, but we're doing well. The tobacco people, because of the deals I made, they're doing very well. But that could be, if it's the case, I can get it solved very quickly.
Do you President Trump, let us know how you settled on this $12 billion or $11 billion plus one more $billion figure?
We looked at how they were hurt, to what extent they were hurt. We did a very, steady progression of charts, and we figured out a very exact number, and it was about $12 billion. Okay?
President Trump, if you had one Christmas wish for America besides making American farmers great again, what would it be?
I would say very simply, I go by a statement when people ask that question. Remember that question was asked to Ted Kennedy, and they said, "Well, what are you going to do to make America great?" And he couldn't answer the question. I have a very simple. We're going to make America greater than ever before, and we're going to do it through a series of tariffs, intelligent taxes, and incentives. And our country has never been stronger. We've never had anything like coming in. We have $18 trillion coming into our country right now. There's never been anything like it. And if you ask me that, I'll say I just want to keep doing what I'm doing because there's never been anything like it's happened.
Do you support
the biggest number ever in history was $2 trillion, and we're at $18 trillion. This is money pouring into our country on building car plants, on building AI plants. We just want to keep doing exactly what we're doing because nothing like this has ever happened in the history of the world, not just our country. There's never been, Scott, would you say that's right? There's never been anything like the investments coming into America.
So this is a record year. Record year.
Do you support the Paramount deal, sir? On healthcare, Mr. President, 22 million Americans are expected to see their healthcare insurance premiums start to rise by the beginning of next year.
You're talking about because Obamacare is so bad?
Yes, well, sir, because the Obamacare subsidies are expiring. Are you going to do anything?
Because Obamacare is so bad.
What is the Republican plan? Are you going to let that happen on your watch?
What I'm going to do is, if the Democrats go along with it, which they don't want to because they want to make the insurance companies very rich, okay? I want the money to be paid to the people to go out and buy their own health care instead of paying to the insurance companies, their stock has gone up 1,700% in a short period of time. Did you know that? 1,700. You wish your corn went up, Ed. But the insurance companies' stock has gone up by 1,700%, 1,800%. They're taking in trillions of dollars. I don't want to pay the insurance companies anything. And I know a lot of them, but they're owned by the Democrats. And the Democrats have, Obamacare is a setup to make insurance companies rich. And I want to pay the people, and I want the people to go out and buy their own health care. And that's what we want to do, and that's what the Republicans want to do, because Obamacare is a disaster. And I said it 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago. It was always a disaster. It's bad health care that's too expensive for people. And now your premiums, and you said it better than I said it. You said the Obamacare premiums are going to go up. They're going way up. And what I want to do is have the money. And you know who's getting that money? A lot of it is the insurance companies. I want the people to get the money and go out and buy their own health care. And everybody wants that, right? Okay.
When Mr. President put that bill on the floor, sir.
Do you have any reaction on the fine that was imposed to X by the European
For what?
Union? To X, to the platform X, the fine that the European Union
Pretty
imposed?
amazing. You're talking about, is that European Union or is it, who did that? European Union or UK?
Yeah, the European Commission.
Whoa, that's a nasty one.
Do
I
you
don't
consider it an
know.
attack?
Elon has not called me to ask for help on that one. But no, that's a tough thing. I don't think it's right. No, I don't think it's right. I don't see, how they can do that. No, I'll speak about it later. I'm going to get a full report on it. Look, Europe has to be very careful. They're doing a lot of things. We want to keep Europe Europe. Europe is going in some bad directions. It's very bad for the people. We don't want Europe to change so much. You're going in some very bad directions. That was a big thing.
You directed a review of the childhood vaccine schedule, possibly to match what is on par with peer nations in Europe. Would you support ending federal mandates and just making those recommendations for schools?
You're going to have to say it again.
As far as the vaccine
Louder.
As far as the vaccine schedule for children, would you support ending the federal mandates and making it optional for schools?
Well, we're looking at a lot of things having to do with vaccines and with the different. I think we take like 88 different shots, all wrapped up in one big glass of stuff like that. And we're going to be reducing it very substantially.
Do you support the Paramount
It'll be safe,
bid, Mr. President?
but we're going to be reducing it very
Do
substantially.
you support the Paramount bid for Warner Brothers? That
I
came
don't
this
know enough
morning?
about it.
You spoke about Netflix last night, saying you have concerns about them.
I know the companies very well. I know what they're doing, but I have to see what percentage of market they have. We have to see the Netflix percentage of market, Paramount, the percentage of market. I mean, none of them are particularly great friends of mine. I want to do what's right. It's so very important to do what's right.
Paramount deal is supported by Jared Kushner, Mr. President. Would that impact your decision?
If Paramount is, I don't know. I've never spoken to him about it. He's really trying to work on Gaza. I think Gaza's his primary thing is Gaza.
You're making house visits on Christmas Eve, as he suggested. Does the beast need to be fitted with sleigh rails?
You want to answer that question?
Absolutely. We should put sleigh rails on the beast, yes.
Madam Secretary, do you support that?
Go ahead.
That Republican plan that you just talked about when it comes to health care, when do you expect Republicans to put that
We're
on?
looking at it very strongly, and we're also going to the Democrats and asking them to do it. The Democrats want to make the insurance companies rich. They're all paid off by the insurance companies. A tremendous amount of the insurance company funding goes to Democrats. Why don't you ask that question of the Democrats? Because I would love to do it. I'd love all of the money to go to the people. They go to the people. I put that out 2 weeks ago. It became #1 viral. People love it. I want the money to go for healthcare, to go to the people and let the people buy their own healthcare through an account. They can buy their own healthcare. And everybody loves it, except for the Democrats. And you know why they don't? Because they're paid off by the insurance companies. Okay, what else?
Yeah, Alina Baba says she's stepping down as U.S. Attorney for the District of New Jersey after the courts disqualified her. Do you have any comment on that?
Well, she's not disqualified. You've got a blue slip thing that's horrible. It's a horrible thing. It makes it impossible to appoint a judge or a U.S. Attorney, and it's a shame. And the Republicans should be ashamed of themselves that they allowed this to go on, because I can't appoint a U.S. Attorney that's not a Democrat. Because they put a block on it. So if you appoint in Virginia or in New Jersey or in California a U.S. attorney or a judge, I mean, a judge situation is ridiculous. The only people that you can get by are Democrats, because they will put a hold on it. if I put up George Washington and Abraham Lincoln to be U.S. Attorney in New Jersey or to be U.S. Attorney in Virginia, we have Democrat senators, they will not approve them. And this is a gentleman's agreement that's lasted for too long, and it doesn't make it, especially in light of what's going on today. It means you can't appoint a Republican U.S. attorney, and we don't play the same game with them, but they do. And I hope that somebody speaks to Senator Grassley about doing something about the blue slip, because I'm telling you, John, I put up great people, top people, highest education, the best lawyers to be like U.S. attorney, and both senators, it only takes one, but if they're Democrat senators, they say we're not going to approve it. I had a couple of them say, why don't you appoint Democrats? All because Senator Grassley, with his blue slip stuff, will not let anybody go by. By the way, the Democrats have violated the blue slip provision on numerous occasions, but we don't do it. And what it means is, I guess I just have to keep appointing people for 3 months and then just appoint another one. And it's a very sad situation. We're
very, I guess, realistically political for what it is. Always good hearing from Trump. Something I'm gonna jump to, city of Chicago, dealing with a budget issue. Now, I know that Chicago's been a hotbed, but I think it'll really tell also how Mamdani's gonna be governing in New York, because it's one thing to campaign, then there's another thing to govern. And the city of Chicago may be in a budget shutdown real soon. Let's see what's happening.
Second year in a row that a majority bloc of alders has stood up to Mayor Brandon Johnson's budget proposal. Perhaps emboldened by last year's success, they are now flexing their political muscle in another fight over city finances. The Chicago budget battle centers in large part around the corporate head tax, which Mayor Brandon Johnson is demanding, and at least 26 alders say is a non-starter.
This is not a rubber stamp city council, and they learned that last year because of the power they had in that debate. So they're flexing their muscles and trying to take it even further.
Last year, the city council voted 50-0 against the mayor's proposed property tax hike. He tried and failed on 2 compromise versions and then dropped it altogether. This year, council members have proposed an alternative budget that would hike garbage fees and liquor taxes and impose a delivery tax. Political observers say this is an unprecedented pushback that hasn't happened since the infamous council wars under Mayor Harold Washington. Dick Simpson is a former alderman and political science professor.
Mayor Washington would introduce a proposal. They would vote it down. Alderman Burke would introduce a counter proposal. The mayor would veto it. And it would go down to December 31st before they could actually pass the budget.
Mayor Johnson has framed this budget as billionaires and big corporations against working class residents.
How do you fix the deficit? Tax the rich!
His allies at the Chicago Teachers Union rallying to his defense in the Gold Coast today.
We need to send a loud message to our representatives that they need to tax the ultra-wealthy corporations, the folks that have it.
This may not be an election year, but Mayor Johnson may be looking ahead to 2027, trying to appease his base with this budget.
It's absolutely an election year budget. By next year, we will already be deep into the mayoral campaign. And so the
budget vote won't happen until later this month. By law, a balanced budget has to be passed by
which has to happen at every level of government, except the federal. Which is crazy. But it's just, I'm not going to play this whole 53 minutes.
This is now the second year in a row
that I saw. Hold on, y'all. I thought I copied it over, but I didn't. The biggest thing to me is, like, I always get the progressives. Love the progressives sometimes. I hate them too. But there comes a point of governing, and if you're not prepared to actually implement the policy you campaigned on, don't campaign on the bullshit.
Judy, it sure does. Both sides are laying the groundwork of blame for the other side if for some reason a budget deal does not get done before the end of the year. But a lengthy weekend meeting did nothing to break the stalemate, which raises the specter of Chicago's first ever government shutdown. Mayor Brandon Johnson issuing a challenge today to the group of 26 alders who are fighting his budget with an alternative plan.
Well, we don't know that they have 26 votes because nothing has been voted on. So I'm saying put it on the board.
On Saturday, many of those alders met with the mayor's budget and finance teams to present their plan, only to have the ideas dismissed. The mayor was not there, frustrating alders who believe he needs to personally be at the table to get a budget deal done.
We will continue to work right up until December 30th, every single one of us. I think the question is the mayor going to get in the room? Is the mayor going to govern? Is the mayor going to lead?
My team is there. That's their job. That's their responsibility. They were there for 9 hours. I'm updated all day, every day on everything.
The mayor said he remains open to compromise, but not on the corporate head tax unless there's other progressive revenue ideas from the alders.
We will also do everything in our power to prevent a government shutdown. A shutdown benefits nobody.
What could happen if there is a first ever Chicago government shutdown? Likely a multi-stage process, according to one expert.
The first would be that I would imagine that you would see enough money scraped together to keep the city government running for some short period of time, maybe 2 weeks.
Then there could be state intervention to compel a solution. While alders continue to work on an alternative budget that could be brought to a vote, they offered this promise.
We are not going to let the end of the year come without a budget. I want all of us to reassure the people of the city of Chicago we're not going to let that happen.
But for investors and stakeholders, the damage may have already been done.
There's just so much uncertainty and so much volatility. And that volatility and uncertainty creates an environment that makes it difficult to invest, and it gives people a reason to not invest, which is exactly the opposite of what Chicago needs to be doing right now.
The mayor asserts that his budget reflects the will of the people. The opposition alders counter that they represent more than half of the city and are responding to their constituents' desires. The mayor sidestepped the question about whether he would veto an alternative budget, but, with no vote expected this week, we're just...
I see collectively the same thing happening in New York. Now, I'm gonna have to wrap it up early. I have a meeting with the Commissioner of Education tomorrow, trying to get a project lined up to get funded in the budget. I have to drive to Tallahassee and then, handle some other meetings and things of that nature before shipping south to South Florida. Have meetings Wednesday as well. Like, again, I'm a professional lobbyist, so the streamer thing, content creator thing is a stretch when you have paying clients and hey, but I do have a community that we're building. I want to thank each and every one of y'all for tapping into the stream tonight. We've had over 21,000 people, over 200 of y'all here right now, and I'm going to go ahead and sign off. But more than anything,
all I ask is when you lay your head on that pillow at night, I gave you everything I had.
Just know that we added some more sound to the soundboard, man.
You ain't never lied. You ain't never lied. That's right.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
We added a couple more sounds to the soundboard. We're gonna get this thing popping. We're gonna get this thing popping for the new year. Listen, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If anything, be safe. I got a lot of driving to do over the next 48 hours. But if I have enough energy when I get back Wednesday night, I'll be here. Maybe Thursday. Taking my son on a Disney cruise this weekend, so I'll be out. But we almost at Christmas and the New Year. I can't believe 2025 is almost over, man. Either way, y'all have a good night. Trip. Appreciate you tapping in tonight, man. Everybody, stay safe. Good night. I'm out.